Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Matthias, and I am the Sales and Marketing Coordinator with Pur-Logic Solutions. We're really thrilled to have you today for this insightful webinar hosted by our partners at Nectari. Today's session is focused on enhancing your reporting experience with Sage Enterprise Intelligence, or SEI. If you've been using Sage Intelligence for Sage 300, but feel like it's time for a more robust solution, this is a good kind of place to start looking at some options. Please enjoy the webinar and feel free to type questions in the chat box. I'm going to hand it over to Poda now from Nectari.
Thanks, Matthias, and welcome everyone to Sage Enterprise Intelligence for Sage 300. All right, so on our agenda today, we're going to quickly cover who we are with some brief introductions and a solution overview. Then we're going to hop on to how we can help you, looking at some of the challenges you may be currently facing and how we can help you automate your business insights. Then we're going to follow that with a live demo and some of the top reasons why Sage 300 customers select ACI as their business intelligence tool, followed by some resources for you and a brief Q&A. All right, so I am Poda Cannavaros. I'm the Director of Product Marketing at Nectari, and I'm going to be joined by Jasdeep Bogle, who's our pre-sales engineer. So what is Sage Enterprise Intelligence? It's a comprehensive, intuitive, and scalable business intelligence and data management solution. So our mission is to empower end users to get the answers that their business needs. And we're going to be going through some of the different ways that we can help you achieve this in later slides. Taking a look, kind of a business overview of who is Sage Enterprise Intelligence, who is Nectari, also known as Nectari for some of the ERPs that we integrate with. So we've been in business actually for over 30 years. We have over 2,900 customers around the globe. We're integrated with over 12 Sage product lines and are represented by more than 300 partners. All right, so taking a look at some of the challenges that you may be facing, and this is in no particular order, but if you have a lot of manual reporting that you're currently doing, you might be facing, more error-prone reports. So manual reporting, as we all know, can take up a lot of your time. Anytime that you need to refresh a report, you'll have to go back and manually export data in order to have the most up-to-date information. It's possible that you're applying different formulas to this data, sharing it with a colleague, and then this colleague might also be doing their own calculations, saving their own copy. So all of these manual steps are just creating more opportunities for error. The second challenge that you might be facing is that business users, non-technical, non-admin users, are not self-sufficient. So business users not only in finance, but business users potentially in other departments have to create requests anytime they need a report from IT. So IT may be spending a lot of time building out similar reports for different departments. Third challenge we're looking at is that if you have different sources of data, this siloed data may be difficult to consolidate. So when data is difficult to consolidate, it's also difficult to analyze and get an overall view of the business, especially if you have different systems that aren't communicating with each other. And in order to be able to get the most value out of each one of these systems and be able to gain valuable insights, users have to be trained on each of these systems individually, and they may also have to get their own access and licensing for these systems. And then the final challenge that you may be facing is that your data is not secure, or your data may be secure, but you're not 100% sure. So it may be challenging to limit information shared by each user, and you may have unauthorized users that are accessing some of the shared reports. If you're not centralizing your security and your reporting, the business has to take extra time to add security restrictions, and you might have to add security restrictions on a report by report basis or on a specific data set, and this can add to all of the management around business analytics. So all of these above challenges can lead to lost time, lost money, potentially losing a competitive advantage and missing opportunities, and also potentially having some poor metrics. Now, what SEI is able to offer to Sage 300 users is a comprehensive solution that can help you automate your business insights. So compared to other solutions that might offer only one piece of this puzzle, Sage Enterprise Intelligence is able to offer reporting and analytics and in different platforms on the web using Excel. And we also offer dashboarding and data management. So typically when a customer starts their BI journey with us, we take a look at well, first of all, we take a look at the answers, the questions that the company is asking. And we like to see all of the data sources that they're trying to manage. So you can use the SEI's data sync. This is our data warehousing tool, which allows you to bring in different data sources into the data warehouse. And this means that you can bring in more than ERP data sources. It could include things like CRM, payroll, and many other types of sources. We're continually adding the different types of connections that we can connect to on a monthly basis. So after the first step of gathering all of these data sources, you'd want to use a variety of tools to try to make sense of that data. One of the biggest differentiators of Sage Enterprise Intelligence is that we have pre-configured reporting templates and dashboards for Sage 300, and we continue to add to these reports. So what this means is that the minute a customer signs up, they have these pre-built reports with their own data that's been mapped out to their Sage 300 ERP, and they don't have to do any additional configuration. These reports are modifiable if they want to change them, so we have that flexibility as well. And you can also do this within the ERP, as Sage Enterprise Intelligence can be embedded within Sage 300. The third step is taking care of those less technical users and empowering all business users so that they don't rely heavily on IT or take up much of IT's time with having to build reports. So Sage Enterprise Intelligence is highly flexible. As you're going to see in our demo, there's no form to complete before you can see what your report looks like. You're going to see how easily you can drag and drop dimensions and measurements and watch the results change right on the spot. And then finally, the last step in the BI journey is to be able to collaborate securely. So you want business users to share the reports across an organization, and you want to facilitate this. So we have distribution tools that allow the scheduling of reports on a recurring basis, and this could avoid a lot of manual work. And when you're sharing a report, one report could be sent to multiple individuals, and each individual is only going to see the data that they've been granted access to. Because of the centralized security options that we offer. So we have very granular security options. These are very easy to set up. You set them up once, and you don't have to set up security for each new report that you create. All right, I just wanted to put some focus on a newer feature that we've developed, which is called the workbooks. Like I mentioned earlier, with Sage Enterprise Intelligence, you have different platforms that you can work on. We do have an add-in that works, it's an Excel add-in that works with your ERP. We have the online platform, and within the online platform, you can work in an Excel-like environment with all of the same benefits of working with the Excel add-in. So without having to go onto a different tool. So you can get everything done online. You don't need any additional Excel licenses. And we have wizards that can help guide you through the report building process. And this is something that's very unique in the market. We know how much customers love Excel, and we're just making it easier for them to do everything that they love within Excel, but online, and get access to the dashboards and pre-built reports that I mentioned earlier. All right, so now it's time for our product demonstration with Jazz. I'm going to make him a presenter, so just bear with me.
Okay, thank you so much, Bora. And thanks everyone for joining us today. just want to make sure, Paula, can you see my screen?
Yep, everything looks great.
All right, perfect. All right, so we will now have a look at the product in action through this product demonstration. And as you can see on your screens, I'm logged into SEI environment for Sage 300, where I would like to give you a quick tour of the environment that we are looking at right now. So on the right-hand side of the screen, on the left-hand side of the screen, I'm sorry, is the command center, which comes with many options like data models and views, dashboards, reports, very cool and interesting workbooks, and even a section called favorites. So all this space for us to actually get access to everything that we need in terms of our data analysis and reporting. So for example, data models and views, the first tab right here gives us the out-of-the-box reports tailored for Sage 300. So if I expand the Sage 300 folder right here, we will notice all these different modules which are based on Sage 300, and they all are coming with their own sets of data models and reports and visualizations with the standard offering of Sage Enterprise Intelligence for Sage 300 customers. On top of that, of course, there are many other modules as well. Finance, purchasing. On the operational side, we have inventory, project and job costing, sales analysis. So there are hundreds and hundreds of different visualizations and reports which users can take advantage of from the day one of using SEI. Another thing is that if you are having other systems in place, such as maybe a CRM software in the cloud, a third-party application that is your legacy system, any other applications that you currently are using and you don't have the means to report on that data, we can definitely also bring other sources of data, other data from the other sources into SEI and combine it all together, consolidate that information to give you one picture, one full picture of your business within SEI. So giving you the single source of truth. Along with the Sage 300 templates, we also have many other templates for other applications which you might be using along with Sage 300. For example, Service Manager. So we have the out-of-the-box reports and graphs and visualizations for your analysis and reporting on Service Manager, and similarly also for AutoSimply. Not just that, we also have universal data model. Like I was saying, you might have other sources other than Service Manager and AutoSimply. So connect to those sources and bring in that information. Universal data model could be very useful as another set of templates where we can bring in the data from those sources and help you report on industry standard reports. Like on the financials, we have all the reports on balance sheet, cash flow, income statement, so on and so forth. So we'll definitely have a look at all these different reports today. But let me get started right with the Sage 300 template, and I'll go ahead and open one of the reports here on the financials first. So let's go into the detailed transaction, and we will have a look at how these reports really work. So each and every worksheet, or you might call it a report, is based on the principle of groups, pivots, and columns, the three shells that we see here on the top. And this space right here it's the one which is giving us that flexibility to work with these reports, to easily slice and dice, drag and drop different fields around, swap them around, and really see the data the way we want to see it. So for example, in the groups, we have three different fields placed here, starting with the fiscal year. Then I have the GL account number, followed by the fiscal period. I can easily switch the fields around. So if I want to keep my fiscal period in the second place, right after the fiscal year, I can simply move it here, and then I will see that sequence while drilling down into this report. So if I go into the groups column right here, it will show me the same sequence of the fields placed here on the shelf. So fiscal year is the first field, and that's how I see all the fiscal years listed here. So if I go into one of these, 2020, I can further see the fiscal periods there. And further drilling down on the fiscal periods, I can see the last field, which is the GL account number, which are all listed here under that period. And further drilling down into the the GL account numbers, I can also see the details, the raw level details of each transaction. So we are really drilling down into the transaction levels on these reports. On the other side, we have these columns like source currency amount, journal transaction amount, which are coming directly from and the way they are placed in the columns. Now to grab more fields or more dimensions to easily slice and dice the data by the dimensions and fields that we want to see in this report, we have the toolbar here on the right-hand side. And one of the tools is the dimensions and measures, where we can easily go and grab more fields. For example, in the dimensions, we have consolidation, company code is in fact a very good example for me to show you here, because what's also very important to mention here is that these reports, if you are having multiple companies set up within Sage 300, multiple databases for Sage 300, we can consolidate all those companies' data together and show that in one single report. So here will be a nice example of bringing a company code into this report by simply dragging and dropping it and keeping it exactly where I would like to see it. So I'm keeping it in the first place, and now I see the two different company codes that are set up in my environment. Or what I could also do is bring in the company code in the pivots. So that will give me a different way of looking at the data, where I have Sam Inc. and Sam Ltd., two of these companies, now as individual separate columns. So I can then again go ahead and drill down on different reports, different areas here. And as you can see, Sam Inc. and Sam Ltd., I'm comparing the postings for each one of these companies by keeping them side by side. So that is therefore a consolidated report of all the companies' data put together in the same place for us. Other than these dimensions right here, we have many other dimensions like segment codes. So if you have your departments defined by using some of the segment codes, we can easily bring in those dimensions as well. So if I grab and drag and drop the dimension segment 3 code here, which actually shows me the different regions present in my database. Or let me also try another one right here, segment 4. Actually, that doesn't show me the data. Let me try segment 2. There you go. So segment 2 here is actually my departments. So if I would like to keep only these two, I can easily filter on the data on this report on the segments. And then if I further want, I can even bring even the segment 2 into the pivots. So now within each company, I have now separate 2 columns for the departments too. So it's really the flexibility, the ease of use. You find the fields that you want to see, you simply drag and drop them into the report, and you have your data ready for analysis in these reports. Now let's go ahead and have a look at another report on the financials again, a more advanced report using the universal data model, where I could try opening a balance sheet report to show you. Okay. There we go. So here I'll use the selection page. So these are some of the nice features as well which come along with the worksheets, where you can set up a selection page where you can predefine the filters of exactly what you would want to see when the report actually loads. From defining fiscal year 2020, that's where I want to see my data on this report. And hence I will have this data loading in this report, which is standard format of balance sheet, where I have assets, liabilities, stockholders, equity, so on and so forth, which I can further drill down. Again, this is the same principle as what we noticed before in the last report, where you learn this principle on one of the reports and you're good with using SEI for all the other reports as well. So it's very intuitive that way, user-friendly, and then we are really knowing where we are getting into while drilling down, because we can easily see the fields as we drill down further into the report. What's also nice about these reports here with the universal data model are all these KPIs which are pre-built. So if you want to bring in your variance percentages, you want to bring in the year-to-date calculations, rolling 12, actual versus budget mix, we can easily grab those fields again too. And we see the calculations on these KPIs immediately into effect as we bring them into these reports. So now I have 2 added columns for rolling 12 and last year. And no matter how much I'm drilling down into this report, there will be calculations and numbers appearing for each level that I'm drilling down into. We can easily also format these reports. So if I say last year, let's pick this as an example. If I would like to change the color of this column, I can go into the column formatting option and pick a color of my choice. Let's say if I pick this color right here in the preview, I can even see what it's going to look like. And here we go. I can also add some more aesthetic touches to these reports to make them very professional. So if I want to go and maybe add a dollar sign to the amounts, so I can go and pick a dollar as a currency, or any other currency for that matter, because we have the list of all the different countries' currencies here. Apply that filter, and now I have a dollar sign added to my report here. Not just that, we can also even add the conditional formatting on these reports too by defining our own conditions. So let's say if the same column where I have made some changes, if I would also like to see the negative figures highlighted in the red. So I can go back in there and choose the conditional formatting this time. There we go. And then here I can define a quick rule. So if my ending balance last year is less than 0, which means if it is negative, I would like to see it with a red flag. So I have some icons here where I can choose from, and also maybe pick a red color for the font. And there we go. So now we will be seeing the red flags and the colors applied to the negative figures in this column. Next thing is how we can easily share and distribute these reports with our colleagues. So back in the toolbar again, we have a sharing option, and there we have plenty of different options to collaborate securely with our colleagues. So if I would like to export this report in a format of my choice, let's say PDF, Excel, we have the options to do so. Or if I would like to actually highlight these red figures as they are already through this conditional formatting, and even further share that with our colleagues, I can use a send comment feature where I will see a screenshot of the exact same report, and then I can pick up a marker and highlight, add annotations, add even a text here to add any comments, and send a direct email from within SEI to our colleagues. So where you can add your colleagues' emails, subject, and you can even write a message, and your remarks on the actual report will be attached with the email and sent out. So many options there, and one of the most loved options is the ability to subscribe to these reports. So we have the more advanced feature, which is the distribution module, where we can set up what we call as the consolidation reporting packs. So what we also call as consolidated reports, where we have the web views. I can go and filter on exactly what reports I would like to keep in the reporting pack, and I can even do a mix match of the reports as well. So if I would like to include a sales report along with finance, I can easily look for the sales reports, and then it will show me all the sales visualizations and reports which are present within SEI. Further, we can even add some aesthetic touches to that. So if I give it a name and cover page here, where I can even add my company's logo, table of contents, and list all these different reports together, and then select the users who would want to receive these reports. So if I would like to add some of these users right here, they will be the SEI users who will receive these reports, and they will further have the rights to come into the solution and be able to slice and dice the data, do the things that I have been showing you so far on those reports. Or if they're not set up as SEI users, or they're not the license holders, they can still receive the static copies of these reports as well. Finally, I can go ahead and set the schedule. If I would like to distribute on a regular basis, I can set up a time and day of the week, if that would be a weekly basis for me to send out these reports to my colleagues or to myself. So if sign 9 a.m. at Monday every week, I will be receiving a reporting pack, which will look something like this, where we can have a nice opening dashboard with all the nice KPIs, which are giving us a full picture of the financial health of the organization, followed by all the financial statements. So that's something which can be easily set up through SEI and automated. We can also set up conditions. So let's talk about inventory here, where inventory manager would like to keep a close eye on the stock levels of the item. So if the stock level for a specific item in the warehouse falls below 1,000, and if that's the threshold that you have set up for the warehouse operations, that condition can be set up in SEI, and then in case the levels fall below 1,000, you can receive a notification on that, so you can be proactive about the situation. Taking an example on the financial side, you can compare your actuals versus budgets. So if actuals go over the budget amount, you can still receive a notification on that and take appropriate actions. Further, we have, of course, like I mentioned, many other reports as well. On Sage 300, again, there are reports on purchasing, inventory, order entry, so on and so forth, but also plenty of different reports on the Auto Simply and Service Manager options as well. Let's go ahead and spend some time on the dashboards now. So just like the out-of-the-box reports, like we saw, we also have the out-of-the-box dashboards for Sage 300, and plenty of other modules as well, such as purchasing, sales, so on and so forth. And along with these, we also have a lot of other dashboards which are offered with the universal data model. Some role-based dashboards like CFO, financial performance, profit and health, so on and so forth. So here I'm going to open the financial performance as one of the examples of the dashboards here. So these dashboards are very powerful in a way that they are capable of bringing in the data from different sources. So in the same financial dashboard, I could actually grab a visualization from sales, or not just sales. If you're using another application, your legacy systems, if you want to bring in any important KPI which is present in your legacy systems data, that can also be simply brought into the same dashboard, so you can have it all placed in one place to give you insights of the entire organization at once. And then further, they are all fully dynamic as well, which means I can use any one of these filtering panels, filters on the top, which are available in the filtering panel, where I can make a selection of a different dimension. Here I'm selecting fiscal period 4 instead of 7, apply the filter, and as you will notice, it rapidly changes the data for me in a matter of a few seconds. These filtering panels and in fact everything on this dashboard as part of the visualizations can be fully customized by yourselves as end users. So we have the option to edit these dashboards, which means if I would want to get rid of the visualization right here and go and grab another report here, let's go back and maybe grab in the income statement. So I can simply drag and drop that report in here in the empty space and have it then visualized. Now I have sales, cost of goods sold, the entire report right here within the same dashboard space. So I have balance sheet on this side and I have the income statement. So they are definitely very, very powerful and also giving you the ability to customize these dashboards and add your own reports and flavors to these great dashboards. Another example of a dashboard we can have a look at is let's open the sales dashboard here. I will open the sales rep dashboard. So here we are comparing the sales data and also setting up some nice visualizations for that, which are a part of this already created dashboard, which is ready to use for us as soon as we start using SEI. So here we are looking at the top 20 sales reps, and then on this side we have the sales growth over quarter. So we are seeing the numbers from one quarter to another. And then we also have the top 10 sales by customer, by product, and we can even use the maps here. In my map here, we don't have much data, so that's the reason it looks empty, but you can actually spot the countries using your bill to codes or zip codes, and that will actually highlight the country's data or the country in a specific color on this maps. And you can hover onto those countries just like you hover on these bars, and you will see the details of that sale from that specific region or product and so on and so forth. So there are some of the examples on the dashboard side. So the reports, out of the box reports and out of the box dashboards, that's already quite a nice starting point for the SEI customers. But sometimes we also wonder if we can actually create our own reports within SEI. So that the answer to that is absolutely yes. So I will actually now show you how easy it is for you as end users to create your own reports within SEI. So let's take sales as an example here. So to create a new report, we simply need to go into the data model, which we want to work on. So sales history in this case, and right click on that, which gives me the option called new view, where I can go and select any other visualization of my choice. So we have plenty of different options, hundreds of different visualizations which are available, ranging from the bar charts to line charts to maps. Like I said, we even have the integration with Google Maps, and also some of the advanced charts like combination, financial, OHLC, candlestick, waterfalls, so on and so forth. Or if you would like to stick something very simple like a worksheet here, we can pick that option. And then there's the widget which opens for us for actually easily selecting the fields that we want to include in that report. So starting with the columns, in the sales report, what would be most important for me is the dimensions like the currencies, the cost and the numbers, right? So we can go into net sales, cost, and then of course also add the profit percentage. These are the three columns I would like to keep in this report. And following that, now we can even define the level of grouping on this report. So we can start with the fiscal year followed by fiscal period, and then we can add the customer code and also the product code. So these are the 4 dimensions that I would like to drill down into when my report is created. So based on those selections, I have this new report created for me. I can expand these columns easily and then drill down on this report based on how which field I actually selected for this report. So fiscal year being drilled down into fiscal period, then I can see the list of customers here, and further down I have all the products information too. But we also always have the dimensions measures in the toolbar. So if ever we want to grab other dimensions or measures from the existing data, we can simply drag and drop them and then make these reports even more lucid. And then once we are happy with the changes, we can always go ahead and save these. Or if we would like to make something more visual out of these reports, we can easily do that as well. So for example, if I would like to only keep one of these columns here, I can get rid of the costs by simply hovering onto that and keeping only net sales. And then what I can further do is to go back into the view type and change this data on this report into something more visual like a bar chart. So I'm picking a vertical bar chart here, which now displays all the data in a tabular form now into a bar chart. So here again, I have the flexibility to easily drill down into different types of details. So let's say 2020, which I can further drill down into see all the different fiscal periods, further drilling down into seeing the customers, and within the customers, I can drill down to see what products were sold to them. Now let's have a look at the second platform of SEI, which is the Excel add-in. So this is again the same exact solution in the back end, but just giving users the interface of Excel where they can use any of these 25 different tools to create their financial statements, their operational reports like sales, purchasing, inventories, and so on and so forth, all within Excel. So here are some of the examples of the financial reports that we have created using the Excel add-in tools. So for example, financial analysis, income statement, balance sheet, financial dashboard, so on and so forth. Let's have a look at some of the tools here. There are some of the tools which make it much easier for us to create these reports in Excel. For example, data extraction. The data extraction tool allows us to bring in the dimensions of our choice and then create a list of them. So for example, to create this income statement, the first step for me was to bring in the account codes along with the descriptions. So if I go in the data extraction by selecting this one of the account codes here, you will notice what was really happening in the backend. So I was bringing in account codes by selecting the data model of my choice. And of course, my environment would be production in this case. And then I'm also selecting a filter here, which my reporting code is set to sales because this account code falls under the sales category. If I go a little bit further down in this report, I will see the cost of sales section. And here, if I go back into data extraction, I'm choosing account codes again, but this time my filter is cost of goods sold. So the tool itself is giving that flexibility for users to easily define those filters and grab those dimensions and create a list out of them. And then further, we have another tool, which is the formula wizard, where we can easily go ahead and create new calculations without having to type these big formulas here in the formula bar. So for example, how this calculation was done can be easily displayed by showing you the formula wizard. So in the formula wizard here, we are selecting the data model again, the field that we wanted to work on, which is ledger posting, and then we can even choose the operation from the list of different operations available here. And then again, selecting different filters by simply mapping them to the cells in the spreadsheet. So for example, fiscal period here is coming from cell D8 of this spreadsheet. So it's highlighting that cell for me. And that's exactly how these calculations are carried out in each one of these columns. And there are many other tools as well, like pivot tables, duplicator to create one such report and then duplicate across other dimensions. Like say, if you want to create one income statement and then create another copy automatically for another company that you also are using for Sage 300, or even spread it over different departments or cost centers or segment codes and so on and so forth, even over fiscal periods. So you can have one separate book for each fiscal period or fiscal year. The duplicator is a very good tool for that purpose. So there are plenty of different tools here in Excel as well for us to work on these and create these reports easily within Microsoft Excel. But what I would like to show you now is the very recent addition to our environment and within the web application. So we're coming back into the web and then having a look at a very Excel-like environment through these workbooks. So if I filter on the data here, confirm. As soon as this report loads, we will see a striking resemblance of this environment with what we have just seen in the Excel. So the workbooks is the Excel platform within the web application, which is not exactly Microsoft Excel, but is giving us all kinds of abilities and the familiarity of the Excel environment, which is equally powerful as Excel, and in fact, even giving us more advanced features as well, all based in the web application, for us to remain within the same space where we can use all these reports that we saw before, the dashboards that we saw, and now we can even use the Excel-like reports within the web. So that's an added advantage. So here's an example of the profit and loss report, actual versus budget, where we have the data extraction being used as a tool to bring in all our account codes. And then just like I explained before, we also have the tool formula wizard to carry out these calculations on the actuals versus budget. So if I go in this budget column, I will use the formula wizard just to show you what exactly was being done here. So exactly the same thing where we are using the budget as a data model, budget posting as a field based on the selection of the data model, and then selecting from the sum or the different operators that are available to us. And then again, we are selecting the different filters based on their mapping from the different cells in the spreadsheet. What also is nice is that we can easily drill down on these numbers as well. So we have a tool called drill down. Here in this case, it's only showing me one transaction. However, we can really see every transaction which adds up to the bigger amounts. If you would like to see each transaction which adds up to the amount in the cells here, we can use a tool called drill down and even change exactly what would be required and what you would like to see in that drill down when it is done. So we can easily pick from different measures and dimensions here to include as the level of information that we would like to see in the drill down. All right, so with that, I would like to conclude my presentation here and pass it back to Pura.
Thank you, Jazz, for that great demonstration. Let me just make myself the presenter. All right, so let's take a look at some of the top reasons why Sage 300 customers select Sage Enterprise Intelligence. And I'm going to reiterate some of the points that Jazz brought up during his demo. So one of the top reasons is that Sage 300 customers can easily create multi-company consolidation. So they can consolidate the data from all the different companies that they have in an easy to use format and an easy to use access format. The Excel add-in is a very popular feature of SEI, and the workbooks is also gaining popularity with Excel-like functionality and everything you find in the Excel add-in but online. Faster loading times when it comes to larger data sets. You also have the capability to report on the optional fields that you've created in Sage 300. We also have integrations with AutoSimpli and Service Manager, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the pre-built reporting templates that come out of the box. So we have the pre-built reporting templates for finance and other departments and other data that comes straight from Sage 300. Now we also have reports for AutoSimpli and Service Manager. So these reports are ready to go. You don't have to configure them. All of your data is in there. And then finally, if you're currently using Sage Intelligence, we have a conversion tool, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about that can help you easily convert the Sage Intelligence reports that you're using into Sage Enterprise Intelligence reports. So I've included here a link to a video where you can go ahead and take a look at the process of converting your Sage Intelligence reports, and you're going to see it consists of a few easy steps to do this, and it helps avoid having to recreate these reports from scratch. So you have all of the same reports in the same format in Excel that you were accessing before with Sage Intelligence. But now you also have access to the advanced capabilities that SEI is able to offer. So again, with this conversion tool, you can automate the report conversion in just 4 easy steps. You maintain all of the Excel formatting, and you can take advantage of everything that Sage Enterprise Intelligence has to offer a lot sooner. Just quickly, one of our customer case studies, and I've also included this in resources a bit later on, talking about the benefits of that they experienced with Sage Enterprise Intelligence. They were actually using Sage Intelligence, and they quickly moved over to Sage Enterprise Intelligence, and they were able to do some things that they enjoyed was drilling down to their data in real time, getting access to their data from no matter where they were. This was a big advantage, especially when it came to COVID and people working remotely and in different regions. And then the biggest ROI, which I believe everyone is looking for, is being able to have self-sufficiency and also remove some costs. So they save the cost of one analyst, and they're able to do all of the reporting and analysis on their own. So you can learn more about that in the resources that are included in this presentation. So like I mentioned, you have access to this case study, a quick product sheet on the conversion tool that I mentioned that gives you a few more details, the top reasons why Sage 300 customers select SEI, and then some other resources like our e-learning and online help. All right, so this brings us to our Q&A session. Let's take a look now and see if we have any questions, and Jazz is going to be answering these questions for us.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I do see a question here on the licensing. So there's one of the questions which is, how does the licensing work in SEI? So within SEI, we have two different types of licenses, which is one pool user and another one is the bureau user. So everything that I did today on the demo, such as slicing and dicing of the data and making those changes in the existing reports and even creating new reports like I did with you all today, these are all the things, including all the admin tasks, what a full user would be able to do. Whereas the pure user will be someone who has given certain rights and restrictions based on what they can see in these reports and what kind of reports they can open. And they will be able to still slice and dice and make those changes on the reports, but they won't be able to save any changes on those reports. And also they won't be able to create new reports on their own. And just to add to the both types of licenses, that they both are concurrent. So you can easily share these licenses with your colleagues without having them all named after each one of you. And there's another question, which is there any additional cost for the templates? No, there is no additional cost for the templates. Everything I've shown you today, either from each one of the 4 templates that we have seen, Sage 300, Service Manager, AutoSimply, and even Universal Data Model. The dashboards that we saw today, even the workbooks, everything is provided out of the box with the same solution. Any other questions? Please feel free to shoot them in the chat. All right, so I think we are good with the questions here today.
I think so too. Thank you so much, Jazz. Thank you, Matthias. If any of you have any questions after this, feel free to reach out to your contact at Pur-Logic, and I believe we'll be following up with this presentation, a link to the presentation and a link to the recording as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us.